Welcome to Manifesting Through Motherhood. I'm your host, Lindsay Williams, a self-development mentor, entrepreneur and author, dedicated to helping busy mums like you manifest success, balance and create passive income on your terms. With years of experience in mindset, manifestation, fitness, parenting and business growth, I share simple yet powerful strategies to help you transform your life without the overwhelm. If you're ready to up-level your mindset, build a thriving business and create the life you truly deserve, you're in the right place. You can also find all my books on Amazon, packed with tools to help you manifest and grow. So don't forget to follow the podcast to be updated on all new episodes. And let's get going. This podcast is sponsored by the MyNARA App. If you or someone you love is experiencing coercive control, you need to know about the MyNARA App. Created by Davey, a survivor and advocate. This powerful app helps you safely collect evidence, protect your well-being and take back control, discreetly and securely. Download the MyNARA app today and start reclaiming your power. Just search MyNARA in your app store now. Welcome back, guys, to the podcast. We have a guest on today, the lovely Davey. She is a multi-award-winning MBACP trauma-informed counsellor and narcissistic abuse coercive control specialist. Emma does lots of things, but I'm going to let her introduce herself. And there might be some triggers, throughout the podcast, and I will put that out there. But yeah, Emma is just amazing. And yeah, I pinched her from somebody else's podcast, and Emma, and I seen you on Liam's, and I was like, this girl is just amazing. And, being the listenership of my podcast, busy mums, women, we're in relationship. We've got a few guys that listen. We are all go through relationships through our life. And we might go into new relationships. So I think this topic is really important, that we know the red flags and we know what we are going into. So welcome, Emma. Thanks for joining. And tell us a little bit about you.
Where do I start?
I know so much.
First, the thing I would say that I'm a survivor of this coercion and narcissistic abuse, and that's where it all started. This journey for me really did start from the worst trauma that anyone can experience, and I've just built the business and my knowledge and everything based on my own experience, because I think there's nothing like real life experience that will help and support other people. And that was my intention, because when I realized what this was, there wasn't much support there. There wasn't help. I went to 2 counsellors myself. One never told me I was in an abusive relationship, and the other one sided with him because it was couples therapy. And that does so much damage. I could have literally walked out of there and just killed myself, because I was not believed. I was not validated. And she made me feel like that I'm going crazy. And when you're being gaslighted anyway, that can cause so much damage. So I wanted to be that therapist that I needed at the time. And that's why I do what I do.
And it does put the fire in your belly to do your job. And that's why I do what I do. I like to support women, because you want to be that person for someone to come to. And you need probably like 10 versions of you to just spread around the world. But if you can just make that difference now, and you probably learned from them counselling sessions, haven't you? What not to do, and you probably think, why did she say that? And why did they do this? And it's shocking that you've said that, because you think a counsellor would be well equipped. But you just don't know, do you? Until you go to a counsellor. And if somebody's new to counselling, you are going to take the word of a counsellor professional and take that away. And a couples one is obviously a little bit more vulnerable, isn't it? So when did all this start then? So take us back to when your journey started, your business and, everything that you went through.
So my journey of narcissistic abuse started in 2015, when I met what I thought was my soulmate, Prince Charming, that he delivered himself as. And it started very quickly, like these relationships do, 0 to 100. And it kind of swept me up, because I was 26 at the time and he was 49. So a big age gap. And I didn't go in, I didn't meet this guy and think, oh God, he's amazing. It was how he did it over a period of months, because I met him in the gym. I just recently moved to the area, so I didn't know anybody. So walking into a new gym class, it's very intimidating because everyone knows that you've got that click in a gym. And it was him that kind of said hello sometimes and would comment on my hair if I changed it. So it was those little things that you think, oh, I'm being noticed. Oh, that makes me feel good. But I was seeing how other people were around him. They were kind of flocking to him, especially women, middle-aged women. And I just thought, there must be something really special about this guy. Now I can see that he is very, very manipulative, very charming, very coercive. And the language that he uses is like, morning gorgeous, morning beautiful. And everybody likes that. So it makes you feel good. But coming from a person that is him, of narcissistic and I would say psychotic, he's doing it for a completely different reason. It's not because to try and make someone feel good. It's to make his supply chain bigger. So his pool of supply that everyone thinks is amazing and puts him on this pedestal. That's why he does it. So we ended up getting into a relationship because he found me on Facebook, sent me a message, invited me to this party. Again, I didn't know anyone, so I was like, okay, that's nice. And I didn't find him attractive, but the way he was with me, the way he made me feel, and that's the really key thing that I say, it's the way these people make you feel. They put you on this pedestal and you're like, wow, I've never been treated like this. This is amazing. You get huge dopamine hits. And then instantly I kind of fell for him because he was so kind. He would message me like, morning beautiful, how are you? Like, he paid an interest in me. He would ask me questions. That's not something like at 26, guys back then wasn't doing. But very, very shortly after, now looking back, it was the isolation. Why do you have friends on Facebook that are guys? Do you speak to them? Do you need them on there? Well, why don't you just take them off? Why do you need to see your friends? I wanted to see you. And then make me question myself. And then we moved in together very quickly. Little did I know at the time, though, he was engaged to somebody else.
Wow.
So like a typical narcissist, he was setting me up to be his next victim. That's what they do. That narcissistic people don't believe a relationship to be on their own. They have to have this constant supply. So anyone listening that's been that supply or has been discarded and someone else has come in very quickly, that is why, because they cannot be on their own. They're very insecure. And then just over the period of 3.5 years, he chipped away at me. The coercion became so bad. I had trackers in my car. I had cameras all in the house. We were together 24/7. He didn't like me seeing my mum and dad because I'm from Orpington in Kent, and I moved to Maidstone. So he didn't like me going down the M20. He hated it, which is why he put a tracker in the car without me knowing. And it got so bad to the point where I started to self-harm because the emotional abuse got so bad where he would torture me for hours, as in verbally just torture me, like call me all the names under the sun, but not shouting, very cold, calm, and like really like black eyes looking at me. So the only way that I could stop that, because the crying and the begging was not doing that, he was actually getting off on that, I would pick up something sharp and cut myself so there's blood. That would stop him. Did it hurt? No, because the internal pain was so bad. And that was my way, my brain finding a way of how do I survive this trauma? And that's the thing. The brain is always looking at survival techniques. So some people say, I started drinking, I started taking drugs. That's a survival technique. You're looking for a way to numb that pain and to get yourself through this period. It's not as easy as just walking away, unfortunately. The brain is always assessing whether it's safe to leave. And in many cases with these people, it's not. You have to find survival techniques. And then it reached a point of committing or attempting to commit suicide where I'd literally had enough, because he had also managed to form a smear campaign against me, which loads of other people were abusing me at the gym. He had made everyone turn against me. And that's another thing they do. You're not just dealing with the narcissist, you're dealing with, say, his family or his friends, or telling you that you're the problem. And that's really hard, because then you feel even more alone. So that's that period. And then when I finally left, I went to Australia, and that's when I did my degree in counselling in Australia in Perth. I would say Australia saved my life, because it gave me the space, and I had to learn how to be me again, because I didn't know who I was. You become so fearful of making a decision anymore in case it's wrong, because of all the repercussions that you've had in the past. Even just driving, I felt this sense of freedom of, oh my God, I can drive and I don't need to be back anywhere. I'm not clock watching. I'm not fearing going home of what I'm walking into. And then I come back, and then the harassment and the stalking started, because even when you leave these people, they don't just leave you alone. That happens. So I just kept going back to the police over and over again. And they kept saying, not enough evidence, like he hasn't done anything wrong. But he was torturing me. Like, I was being published in the Daily Mail and things like that, talking about narcissistic abuse. And he would even write comments underneath it under a false name, saying, you know, she's a prostitute, she's a stripper, she hasn't got a clue what she's talking about. He really tried to slander my name. Again, police weren't interested. And then it got to 2022, where finally I just kept collating so much evidence, and he got remanded for coercive and controlling behaviour. So that's when the idea of the app came in, of MyNARA, which is storing all your evidence so you can show a pattern of behaviour, so you can hand it to the police, and the CPS can see the pattern of behaviour with all the evidence, the emails, the text messages, the voice notes, the call logs, and even take pictures of the good times, the flowers, the presents, even messages saying I'm going to kill myself, like from the narcissist, as a form of manipulation. Show all of that, and there's your evidence. So that's how it's all come about.
And I bet, so going back to when he started isolating you from your family, that is a massive red flag. But at first you think, oh, he loves me. But as soon as people stop wanting you to be near your family is something, because we all know, like my mum knows when I don't feel well, she just feels it, like she'll send me a message. Your parents know when you are changing, when your hair's changing. My mum's done it with me in the past with, ex-partners, and they just know. So stopping you seeing your family, because you know if you're going on a sad day, you're going to speak to your parents, might be your mum or your dad, and he knows that he's trying to stop you doing that. So otherwise you're going to start letting things out. Did your parents, did they notice something was wrong? Did they have an inkling? Because it's hard, isn't it? Parents don't want to interfere and push you away, but they also have a duty of care as well.
Oh, they definitely saw, and they tried. They really did try, because the cycle of just constantly going round and round it, of being discarded, devalued, and then brought back in again, love bombed, the sorries, can't live without you, it's okay for a couple of weeks, and then it just starts again. They saw that, and I would get thrown out of the house. Yeah, I was in his house, and whenever he decided he wanted to go on his alcohol and drug binge and sex worker binge, he would be really nasty to me and kick me out of the house. So then I'd have to go back, and then my body would be in a complete shutdown and freeze. And then I would just sit there and wait for some form of communication from him. Like, my body was just, it wasn't well anymore. My brain wasn't well. I was just in a constant functional freeze.
Yeah, and sometimes people expect the physical, but it wasn't just physical with you, was it? It was the words are so damaging. Even somebody just saying things, it was probably, I'd find more worse. I could take a punch any day, but the words, and someone making derogatory like things that you're fat, and this is what I speak to a lot of women, and they said this is what their partners do. You can't go out, you can't wear those clothes, you got to get rid of your clothes. And I think, oh my God, but as you got older, you learn, don't you? But when you're young, you're still learning in relationships. You might not have had many relationships. We don't know until we've learned these experiences. What red flags would you say for our listeners? Because there are a lot of women that are in relationships. Would you say that to be aware of when they are entering new relationships? Because we have the online dating now, and it is good. You can get to know people online, but also they've got that opportunity to get to you, like you've said before, get to know you, your likes, dislikes, and kind of build a character around that.
I would say one of the biggest things is if someone says, are you going to wear that? And I talk about this a lot because after Ash, I tested all my partners with different things. But one of the main ones is wearing something. And it could be leggings at a gym or whatever it is. And if your partner says, are you going to wear that? That's a red flag, because why is someone questioning whether you're wearing a pair of leggings, a top, whatever? If you then say, oh, okay, what, you don't like them? Okay, I'll go and change. That person knows that you're moldable. So they're going to do that. And then in a year's time, you're definitely not going to be wearing leggings anymore. And you're probably not going to be going to the gym anymore. It doesn't start with, you can't do this, you can't do that. It starts with, are you going to do this? Are you going to wear that? Are you going to talk to her? It's all those embedded questions that make you think, oh, does it not look right? Oh, shouldn't I not do that? Oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't see her. That you then change all these things, and then before you know it, you don't look, or you don't see yourself anymore. Your identity has changed. So if someone says, are you going to wear that? Make sure you say, yes, I am, and then leave it, and then see the response that you get from that. Because otherwise, as I said, you will lose your identity. If someone starts to isolate you, and it could be not necessarily you can't see that person, it's how they isolate you. Oh, why do you have to go out tonight? Oh, I really wanted to spend time with you. Oh, I just like it when it's just you and me. When no one else is around, me and you get on great. It's when everyone else is involved. If we just cut everyone out, then it would be perfect. Why are you seeing your family? You saw them last week. You're an adult now. You need to break away from your mum. It's a bit pathetic that you've got to speak to her every day. It's all these kind of things that are said to you that you think, oh, all right, then I won't go out. Oh, I won't see them. Because that's what happened to me. My mum would ring and he'd see her and he'd be like, oh, what does she want? Like, she rang you yesterday. You're like 28. You need to move away from your family. It's a bit pathetic. You're an adult. You need to get in the real world. And so what did I do? I ignored the call. And then I would fear her calling, and then I would go to Sainsbury's on my own and speak to her on the way. So I had some space to talk to her. So I felt like I couldn't answer the phone to her. And if you feel like that you're walking around on eggshells, again, that's not normal. That's abuse. You shouldn't ever feel in a relationship you should be walking around on eggshells. And listen to your body. If you start to feel fear in making a decision or question, should I do that? Or, gaslighting is a big part of this type of abuse. If you're questioning your own sense of reality, again, a red flag. I see a lot of people that have their own children and entering new relationships, and they even start making you treat your children differently. Like, oh, you need to sort your kids out. It's ridiculous how you treat them. You model call them. No wonder they're like this. And I see women saying, I've started to be really nasty to my kids because I feel like I have to have a go at them, even though I don't agree with it. But if I don't, then there's going to be repercussions from him. So it's all these things. You start to change everything about you and feel like that you have to do things to please the abuser, because then your life will be safer. And another red flag, if you meet somebody and they're perfect, and then all of a sudden things starts to change, and then you think, oh, well, if I do this, I'll get this person back. Again, another red flag. So there's quite a few for you there, Lindsay.
That's loads. Let's talk about love bombing, because that happens pretty quick and it can probably last a couple of months. And then obviously you do start, like you said before, a couple of months in, there's a lot of change, but love bombing, we all fall for love bombing. We all want to be loved and desire, like, look, we all want to be said we look good, but there's a limit, isn't there? And I think when we get older and we've had like rubbish relationships, we've all been through relationships, you see it, don't you? And you start to see things, but not everybody does. And not everybody, I think these words are circulating quite a lot around nowadays, and it's good. It's important that we talk about it because people don't know what love bombing is and gaslighting. What forms of love bombing did you experience that other people might think, actually, I'm experiencing that right now?
He said he loved me in the first week.
That's a big red flag, isn't it?
It is a red flag. It's so annoying because love bombing is the best bit.
Yeah.
That's when you get all the amazing gifts. It's when you get all you get I don't like saying the best version because it's not actually them. Like the person that you meet is not them at all. When you see the abuse, that's the real them. So the love bombing, you are meeting a version that they've created because they know that they can't turn up as themselves because otherwise they wouldn't get you because they know they're abusive. And so when people question, do they know that they're doing this? Yes, they do, because that's why they love bombing you. So lots of attention, validation, puts you on a pedestal, saying things like, I've never met anyone like you. I don't know what you've done to me. I've fallen in love with you so quickly. And then that with the future faking is where the trauma bond is made. So lots of love bombing. And then, we're going to go on this holiday. I can't wait to marry you. I can't wait to have children with you. We're going to have this amazing life together. And it depends on what you've experienced in the past. You might have had a really horrific childhood, or you've had a rubbish relationship before, things haven't worked out. And then you've got Prince Charming, or not just a guy, but women as well, come into your life and say, you're going to have everything. And they mirror you. So you're actually falling in love with a version of yourself because they are going to say that they like everything you do, that they've never met anybody that's so alike them. And love bombing is to create a trauma bond because once you're hooked, it's so hard to get out. And so if someone is coming into your life and it's like just chucking buckets of affection, very, very charming, that's a red flag. And again, like I said earlier, if someone's coming in, they shouldn't be changing within 3 months or 6 months. That should be consistent. Future faking as well, if they're constantly living in the future, like dangling this carrot, which is what you then stay in the relationship for. Actions speak louder than words.
And we all want to have our future mapped out for us, don't we? But it's, so when you're seeing these things, you think, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, I do want children. And do you know what? I met my husband on the first date because he's 10 years older than me. The first thing I asked him was, because he had no children, we're 37, I was 27. Why have you no children? Do you want children? I thought, why did I ask that? But I think I got to that stage and we was pretty quick. Like we got engaged after 4 months. We bought this place after 8 months, been together 16 years. And then we had, within a year, I was like, I want a baby. So because I think I'd been through so much before, I was like, I met this guy. Luckily it's worked out. But same thing. I always look for flags like, is this going to change? Because you do kind of judge your ex-partners, don't you? And like, oh, I wonder if this is going to happen. And you're kind of waiting. And I bet that's happened, for you in your new partnership. Like, it's hard to take that to the next relationship without destroying that next relationship, I would imagine, because you don't want to accuse people. Well, are you love bombing me? Are you gaslighting me? And you kind of like it's like push and pulling all the time. How do you move on to a next relationship without being in fear of being on high alert all the time?
Well, I always say give yourself at least 6 months to a year of no relationship, no sexual intimacy, nothing. You have to come away from it and process what has happened. You have to learn to be you again and understand what you like and understand what's happened. Because there's a lot of self-blame. We question, oh, well, maybe if I did do this, then it wouldn't have turned out like that. And, we're in pain. We're breaking an addiction. That doesn't happen overnight. And we have to go through those horrific days of crying, not wanting to get out of bed and picking ourselves up again and rebuilding ourselves. And you can only do that on your own. No one can make you get better apart from you. And you have to want it. If you just go from one relationship to another, you're going into a relationship still traumatized. And so you're going to take that trauma into that new relationship. And of course, you're going to be on high alert. You're going to constantly be looking for things. And it is very, very common that someone will go from one narcissistic relationship into another because it's normality, it's familiarity, and it's normal. You know, someone arguing with you and telling you what to do and controlling you, that's normal. And that's become quite a nice, when I say a nice feeling, I mean it's normality. That's what you're used to. Because sometimes people say when someone is normal and not narcissistic, oh, those relationships are boring. But that's because your nervous system is so used to the highs and lows that it's waiting for that huge dopamine hit, oxytocin, serotonin, and then the huge crash of cortisol pumping through your system. So you're waiting for that. So you have to come, like any addiction, you have to come away from that and really go through the withdrawal process, which is horrendous. And then you will know when you're ready to meet somebody again. I always say that. You'll know. You know, the thought of going on a dating app doesn't seem so daunting. You'll want to introduce yourself to new groups of people. Just go with what you feel. No one knows you better than you.
Exactly. So how long did it take you for the conviction, which is amazing, by the way, because not many people would have the strength to, you know, collate the information. But did just something just snap and you think, I can't let this happen to somebody else, which it has done, hasn't it, since, which we can go into. But how long did it take you from that time, from going to the police the first time? Did you have to keep going in with more evidence? Did it start taking you seriously?
It took like 3 years.
Wow. Oh, wow. I thought it'd be a lot less than that. That's a long time.
From the time he did get arrested for ABH towards me, back in 2019. And yeah, obviously that was dropped. But every time I went back with new information, because I had no tangible, as in like I didn't have a black eye, I didn't have broken bone. Coercive control is really, really hard to prove. And very few cases get taken on by the CPS because of lack of evidence. If you don't have it, they won't take it on. So I was just very, very persistent because this guy nearly killed me. And my nervous system went from freeze into fight. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to, I've got to do this. I just felt like I couldn't let him win. If the fact that I was going to kill myself because of this guy, I just couldn't have him still having this persona, like still flying monkeys, blaming me for stuff. And I think that's another thing. I found it really hard that he'd done all of this and yet the flying monkeys would still blame me. So constant abuse, even though that I was working in this area and I was having lots of PR, etc. I knew that it's like I needed validation from these people, and I don't know why. And listeners might have that they need to have that belief from other people. But I would say, honestly, don't worry about it. Those people they're nothing anyway. So I just kept going and going until he finally got remanded, and then he actually pleaded guilty to coercive controlling behaviour because of all the evidence. He actually got one of the best barristers in the UK, and even she said clearly, you either go guilty and I can probably get you a suspended sentence. I think that's what he was going for, but he didn't. He did get custodial sentence. But he turned up at the sentencing, pissed out of his head,
Wow.
Very cocky. He's a very high functioning alcoholic, so he can stand up. He's not swaying, but his eyes go black. And just his persona was just like, it's all about me. I'm better than you still. And yet he got 19 months. But he did only do 6 weeks.
I'm going to say, but how long did he do? So that's nothing, because that gives time to go out, and it's just shocking, isn't it? Why give somebody these sentences and then don't stick to them? I never get that.
Yeah, I know. It is very, very disheartening. But for me, even if he spent one night, like from that moment of when the judge gave him his sentence, he stood up. He wasn't going home that night. He was spending the night in His Majesty's pleasure. I was very happy with that because I knew that for me, that was closure. It was done. That was it. Game's over. And he actually stood, when you stand up and the judge walks out, he actually turned to me and said, "Well done." Not sorry, just well done.
Bloody hell. And then he comes out and then does it again, I believe. And obviously, this is public knowledge, isn't it? You can't see things online.
Yeah.
And how long did he get for this previous? Obviously, it's took a while, hasn't it, by the looks of it, for him to be. But is he out now again?
Yeah, he's out now. So if he'd have done his whole 19-month sentence, he wouldn't have found another victim. And then he wouldn't have got done for non-fatal strangulation and assault by beating, which he did. So he was let out in January 2023. He was convicted again in 2024 for those charges against somebody else. So these people don't change. They only get worse. And his love bombing didn't last very long because I did go to the trial just one day. And it started in September and he was remanded in February.
Has anybody ever approached you, like these people, this person or his ex-partner? Has anyone ever approached you and said, "I've been through this and this is what I went through," to trying to get more people on board? Or do you think people are scared to speak out?
No, everyone has come out the woodwork.
Oh, that's typical. All the monkeys have come out. Like monkeys have come out.
All the past relationships he's had have all said, "Oh yeah, that I experienced this, I experienced that." Even from when he was 19 years old.
Bloody hell.
That, he's somebody that he was with then has come out and reached out to me and said what she endured from him. So these people they're like this from a very young age. Doesn't matter what age you are, they just get worse because they master their craft very well.
What do you think it is in people that and obviously, we're talking about a male, but what is it? Is it something from childhood or is it just something learnt behaviour from their parents? Because you always wonder how there's a certain calibre of people that it's just embedded in them. Do they know that they're a narcissist? I think many times they don't. I think they just think that's normal behaviour, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, they are who they are, just like we are who we are. So the way we are, it's quite normal to feel empathy, compassion, etc. We would think everyone would be like that. And for narcissistic people, it's the same. They don't have empathy. They don't have compassion. So if you don't have it, you can't give it. Yes, a lot of the time it is childhood trauma, but it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's been abused that's made them narcissistic. It could be the complete opposite. It could be that they've had very pushy parents, where they've put them on a pedestal and it's like, you don't need to cue, my child's the best, my child needs to be this. You might see them in like a gymnastics class where they will want their child to be the best and to be getting gold, and they feel that the coach should be focusing on them more, that child more than any other because their child's the best. That can create a lot of narcissistic traits in somebody because that child believes that they're better than everybody else. With him, he is definitely high malignant and to be honest, I think psychopathic. Yeah, he hates women. He wants to destroy women, but he has to have them around him to make him feel good because he's very insecure. And the levels that he goes is very, very psychotic. So yeah, he's not a he's a very dangerous person, especially around women.
Yeah, I know. Sounds like he's locking up forever. So let's talk about your app. So how's that going? I bet people are just like, it's just great to put everything in one place, I think, because it's safe and secure. And, not, if you are in a relationship, an app, you can just put, like in your notes, I put things in my notes all the time so I don't lose things, files in there. Not everyone, a person's not going to know that it's there. So I think that's really important, instead of just having like just random pictures everywhere. So is a lot of people, have they used that for any evidence yet? Or is people just using that and just to keep using it as a daily thing?
Yeah, so the app is being used to store evidence of abuse because, as I say, with the CPS, you have to have evidence. So around coercive controlling behaviour, it is the text messages, the voice notes, the call logs. And the reason why I created this app is because my abuser, he used to delete stuff off my phone. So he would go into my pictures, he would delete stuff, he would go through my text messages and delete stuff. So if I had the app at the time, I would be able to collate everything in one place, have it secure, didn't have to have it in my camera roll, the evidence. And even if my phone got taken from him or it got damaged, I'd be able to log in via a PC or another phone and all my evidence would still be there. And also, when you start collating it, especially if you're experiencing a lot of gaslighting, it's confirmation that you're not going crazy. This is happening. You can also log red flags in there. So when you do enter in a new relationship, you can log what you're experiencing. Like, is it manipulation? Is sex being used as a weapon? Am I being gaslighted? All of these things. So the app will tell you, okay, you've logged 10 red flags in a week. This is something to take note of. Don't ignore these
amazing.
red flags. The red flags you ignore at the beginning are the ones you leave for in the end. So if you can prevent a lifetime of trauma by just logging these red flags and thinking, do you know what, actually, there's too many for me, I'm out, then it's going to prevent you from having complex PTSD.
This app should be. I went to the doctor's last week and I was looking at the board thinking, and there was not one thing on domestic violence. There was bits of stuff like diabetes. And I was just picturing your app, like doctors should be rolling these things out. When you're sat there, you could scan it and quickly, download the app in toilets, women's toilets, men's toilets, where we've seen things before where we can scan them. It should be rolled out so this could halve so much. Even just if people are in it deep, knees deep in it, at least they can start collecting evidence and have some more support from you and contact you as well. So it needs to be rolled out, and schools as well, doesn't it? Like schools, children now have got social media. We didn't have that back then. There's lads as well. They are learning so much learnt behaviour, aren't they, online off other social media influences, which we won't mention. But we do, don't they? Lads think, oh, I'm going to be like them, I'm going to be like them. And it's shocking, isn't it, really? I do worry for my son when he gets older. It is a big, scary world out there. So how do people, if they want to work with you, so what type of work do you do? Do you do it in person or is it online?
So I have my own counselling practice as well, My Trauma Therapy. And that's where I see people via online. And I work with people one-to-one and help them through that recovery journey at whatever stage it is. So you could still be in the relationship or you could still be having to have contact with the abusive person, such as mum, dad, sibling, friend, boss. And we look at a method to help prevent you from continue being abused. So boundaries, behaviour patterns, your nervous system. I use multiple different therapy types: trauma-informed CBT, trauma-informed somatic therapy, Brainspotting, which is fabulous for trauma. So it reprograms the brain. It's very similar to EMDR. Solution-focused is another really good one. And just many different therapy types. No one is the same. So I don't use just one. I use multiple because you're going to get the best from that. And everyone is believed. Like the first thing I'll say to someone is, I believe you. I get it. And I think people find it very just nice to be in a place where they can talk, because I might be the first person they've ever told everything to. They might have not told anything of what they've experienced to anyone else in the fear of not being believed. Or people say, this is going to sound crazy and you're probably going to think that I'm nuts. And I'm like, no, I don't, because I felt that before. That's how I felt. So just bring yourself to therapy as you are. I want to work with you. I don't want to work with, someone that you feel like that you have to be. And that brings in the freedom of choice. Again, that's part of therapy, because I want to help people recreate their identity again. Be who you want to be. And I've seen amazing transformations over the years, and that's why I do this. Just seeing that is amazing.
Yeah, it's surprising. I remember I did my years ago, about over 10 years ago, I did some counselling, I did a counselling course. And the things that just went into just the first counselling course, I was like, they just really get into, just doing the course and you start learning more about yourself. And then obviously that's why I've diverted a little bit into the fitness and life coaching. That's what I went into. So, and I was really good at that because I was able to use the tools from the counselling and everything and really holistically work with people. I used to work in gyms, so I know about people's behaviours in gyms and narcissistic, and you can even get, there's a lot, I don't know what it is, the breeding ground, the gyms for these people. But women we talk to each other and like, don't go out with him, and people come up to me and I'm like, oh, just stay away from that one, he's married. But like, women need to listen to each other, we need to listen, don't we? Because we're the ones that, we never do that when we enter a relationship and we say to that person, oh, we don't go out with that person, he went out with such a body. But we still enter that relationship because we've not experienced it ourselves. And I see this now in people that I know, even at my age. Because it's just really hard, isn't it? We've got to have them lived experiences. And then we say after, what do they say after? They say, I wish I'd have listened to you. I'm like, well, what can you do? You can only support people and be the best. But everything you're doing is just amazing. You should be really proud of yourself. Like how far you've come and how many people you're helping now and all the work that you do. And being very open and transparent. That's what, not many people would do that for you. But you've obviously got to a place where and you can talk about things, can't you, and help people. And now you've channeled that into your business, and your app is amazing. I don't know anyone that's got an app like that. So I'm gonna put that through the podcast. We've spoke about this before. I'm going to sponsor it through the podcast. And just so people do get, when they're listening to other episodes, they're going to listen to it. And then I'll put the links in the show notes so you can download them on the App Store, which is dead quick. I downloaded it on mine. It's really quick to have a look at. And I suppose you can use it for other things as well. Someone I was talking to, the parents are a little bit narcissistic, and I said, what about using this app? And they were like, oh, is it not just for relationships? Like, no, because even you might not do anything with it, it's something, isn't it? That you can start to build something, like a character in your mind. So that app is, it's a brilliant app. So well done, for doing that.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. That's so kind of you. I just wanted to give a solution back to somebody that I was going through. And it's so disheartening when the police keep saying, no, there's not enough evidence. And you're like, do I have to turn up in a body bag for you to take me seriously? Like, you become quite angry. And I really do understand why people don't go to the police because of this. Oh, well, he hasn't done anything. So, just block him. Like, that's the answer. With narcissistic people, blocking doesn't do much. They'll find another way. I've known people to get sent money and the reference is call me, or they go into your Netflix and change the thing of I miss you. They will find a way to contact you even if you block. So the advice that police give is absolute crap.
Yeah, I have a friend, Kate Beasley, who I told you about, as the Health UK radio, and she's the only person that said to me, collect evidence, because when you are going, and she's been through it herself, when you are going to the police with this, you're so emotional, and you go into a room and say, my partner's done this, police, just like, it's just too much information for the police. But if you can be calm and collective and present this evidence and just leave it with them, that is something, isn't it? Because you do, don't you? Like the police, you just, this and this. To them, they must be frustrated as well, because there's only so much they can do as police, because there is no, people get less convicted for worse things. So people are going to be, feel deterred to go to the police because they think they're not going to do anything. So what's the point? Because they're going to make a bigger, a rod for their own back if they go to the police. But if you don't go, then you're not going to help the next person and the next person. So it is just a cycle, isn't it? We've just got to support each other and just keep these podcasts are brilliant. How many people are going to listen to this podcast and think, I'm going through that, or I'm going to download that app. That's what it is. It might not be someone this week, but it could be in 3 months' time that'll think, wow, this app could save their life. This is what it is. These podcasts are great for spreading awareness. And like me watching like Liam's podcast is my guilty pleasure, because he said you don't have many females. I'm like, I'm a female listener. But the people that I have on like yourself, it does impact you, and you think, wow, and it's something that you can think, this person has been through so much. And I love the way he interviews anyway. It's just a lovely approach and with the way he does things. So is there anything else you want to add? Because I know you're a busy lady today. Anything else? Because I'll put your links in the show notes anyway. So if anyone wants to contact you.
If you want to contact me, please contact me via My Trauma Therapy. But I am going to be launching a platform very soon, which is like a My Healing Hub, where it's so cheap to join, like literally £2 membership a month, and that you will be able to meet lots of other people going through this. I'm going to do lives, I'm going to do Q&As. It's going to be very interactive. There's going to be courses on there. There's going to be lots of information of what this is, because I don't want people to feel alone, which is what I felt. So I want to create something that you feel like that you can be part of, be believed, and have all the information in one place, and to have me there as a professional and a survivor to validate you and say that, yeah, this is what it is. And hopefully it just gets bigger, where there's going to be, I'll do interviews with solicitors and hopefully with police as well, to get all the information that people need and to be in a safe place where you can be supported in leaving, because I know counselling is not for everybody. Plus, people might not be able to afford it. So I want to help everybody get the information and have the support there. So that's going to be coming out very, very soon. And so if you want to find out more, just join my social media, my Instagram, TikTok, because it'll be plastered all over there when it's launched. But just know that it's not you, and you can survive this. You just need the right help and support, and just know that you weren't put on this earth to be abused by somebody else.
And you're living proof that everything's going really good for you and you're doing amazing things. So I think someone can see you and what you're doing. It kind of gives you that fire in the belly to think it's not always going to be like that for everybody. We've all been through things and think things always end up working out better in the end. We've just got to put, that's why I love self-development. We've got to put that time in for ourselves. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while. So, but thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Maybe we'll get you on again in the future, but thank you. It's been brilliant. And
Thank you.
So I'll cut off now, but I'll say a quick goodbye once I've finished. But I'll put all the links in the show notes for Emma. So thanks again, Emma, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you feel inspired to take action and manifest the life you deserve. Don't forget to come and join me over on social media and Instagram at Busy Mums Fitness Corner for more tips, motivation and behind the scenes. And also be sure to check out my books on Amazon. They're designed to help you manifest your dreams and grow. And if you're ready to take the next step and work with me, you can head over to my Linktree for all the details. Let's make magic happen together. So until next time, keep manifesting and stay amazing.